Everybody. I hope that you're well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 2 English lesson on reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronoun. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 2, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of reflexive pronoun. All right. Okay, so our chapter is reflexive pronouns, right? Our subject is English language arts. Grade 2, we are subject language, English language arts. And the lessons that we are focusing on under the chapter of reflexive pronouns is to choose between personal and reflexive pronouns. And we're also going to choose reflexive pronouns, right? All right. So when it comes to reflexive pronouns, right? Reflexive pronouns are pronouns. So reflexive pronouns are pronouns that either end in self or they end in selves, right? So they end in self or they end in selves. So it's words that end in self or selves, right? And when it comes to reflexive pronouns, we have, for example, our subject, which is singular, and then we also have our subject, which is plural. So like saying it's words that are singular as well as words that are plural. And when we have a singular subject, right, which refers to us making mention of one person, right? If we are making mention of one person, and then, for example, if I then our reflexive pronoun is going to end in self, right? So when we are using when our subject is singular, so when our subject is singular, and then we are going to be using, or our word is going to end in self, which is SELF. So it's either myself, yourself, herself, himself, or itself. That is when we have a singular subject. But then when we have a plural subject and we're referring to more than one person, right? And then our word is going to end in the word selves. All right, selves, either ourselves, yourselves, or themselves, right? And we are going to go deeper into how we can even put that in a sentence or how we can even identify that, right? All right. So when we are talking about the singular subject and I refer to I, right, as a singular subject, like I'm talking about me, which is I, right? And then our reflexive pronoun is myself. Because if you are referring to I, which is me, and then you are referring to myself, or I am referring to myself, right? Then if we're referring about, or if you're talking about the subject, the singular subject, you, right? Then you refers to the reflexive pronoun, which is yourself. So I refers to myself, you refer to yourself, right? And if we're talking about she, right? We're making mention of she, we're making mention of a lady, right? And then a reflexive pronoun is going to be herself, right? Herself, because we're referring to her, we're referring to she. And if we're referring to a man or a boy, right, which is he or him, right? And then our subject is he, and then he is going to refer to himself as a reflexive pronoun, right? So himself. And then lastly, if our singular subject is it, right, we're referring to it, and then it is making mention of the reflexive pronoun of itself, right? So I, which is myself, you, which is yourself, she refers to herself, he we refer to himself, and it we refer to itself, right? So that is a reflexive pronoun. And we said reflexive pronouns, it either ends in self or it ends in selves, right? Then we have a plural subject, which refers to more than one person, right? More than one person. This is a plural subject. And if we make mention of we, right? So if, example, I'm saying myself, Winnie, and Betsy is going to the park, right? So now I'm saying we going to the park, right? So we can then say we are going by ourselves, right? Which refers to the three of us, ourselves. So we are going to the park because we are going. It's our subject pronoun, our plural subject. Sorry, and a reflexive pronoun, right? We refer to it as ourselves. It's like saying we are going ourselves to the park or by ourselves to the park, right? If we refer to you, right? We're referring to you or about you or talking about you or referring, to you, right? So if we say that it's like we're asking you a question, are you going to school, right? Or are you walking to school? And then your response can be yes. And then we're like, are you walking by yourself? Right? Yes, I'll be walking by myself, but yourselves, right? And this can even be you, which is more than one. If it's plural, then it means that you, it's more than one. It's like saying you guys. It refers to more than one. It's like you refers to like a group of you that's standing over there, even yourselves. And then we're also referring to they, right? So if I'm standing over there, or both of, let's say me and somebody's, we are looking at a few of the others, right? So if they are going to the mall, right, and they're going to watch a movie, then they are going by themselves. Themselves. They refer to themselves. You refer to yourselves. We refer to ourselves. So if we are referring to anything or anyone that is more than one person, and then we can say it is ourselves, yourselves, themselves. We are referring to it as selves, right? So if our plural subject is if we have a plural subject, right, and then our plural subjects, our reflexive pronoun will end in selves, and our singular subject, right, the reflexive pronoun for a singular subject will end in self. All right. So once again, we said reflexive pronouns. It's pronouns, right? It's not like saying the person's name. Remember, a pronoun, it takes the place of a noun, right? So instead of saying Nadine, or instead of saying Winnie, or instead of saying Nolly, instead of saying Betsy, we say you, or we say she, or we say he, or we say it, or we say I, right? That is a pronoun. Or we say we, you, they are, that's pronouns, right? And that takes the place of a noun. But a reflexive pronoun is words like myself, yourself, herself, himself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. And then with reflexive pronouns, right? We have pronouns that either end in selves, which refers to a singular subject, or selves, which refers to a plural subject, right? All right. So we are now going to go on to aplusstudents.ca. And this is where we are going to do our tutorial lesson. All right, so let's go to aplusstudents.ca and we're going to do our first lesson, which is choose between personal and reflexive pronoun, right? So remember reflexive pronouns, right? Remember reflexive pronouns, right? It's pronouns that ends in self or selves, right? That's reflexive pronouns. It ends with self or selves, right? And we're going to have to find the difference between what is a reflexive pronoun and a personal pronoun, right? So reflexive pronoun and a personal pronoun. And we see that reflexive pronouns, it ends in self or selves. And if we're referring to singular subjects, right, of when it comes to a reflexive pronoun, and then we can use words like myself, yourself, herself, himself, or itself. And if we're referring to a plural subject, then we can refer to ourselves, yourselves, or themselves. And remember, when it comes to a reflexive pronoun, right? So reflexive pronouns, remember I mentioned now that it refers to either I, myself, you, yourself, she, herself, he, himself, it, itself, right? Or it refers to we and then ourselves, you, yourselves, or they, themselves. That is reflexive pronouns. So when it comes to reflexive pronouns within a sentence, right? Then it means that the reflexive pronouns, it is used to refer back to the subject of a sentence. They need to match the subject. So the reflexive pronoun, right, needs to match the subject. So if we make mention of ourselves, then it needs to match back to we. If we refer to the reflexive pronouns, which is yourself, then it needs to refer back to you, right? So it needs to refer back to the subject of the sentence, whether it is singular subject or plural subject, and they need to match the specific subject. All right, so an example, right? So let's look at an example. An example of a reflexive pronoun, right? And how it matches or refers back to the subject of a sentence, right? It's like saying, we helped, we, right? It's referring to us, we helped ourselves to some soup. So, which means that we went alone and we went to go and dish soup for ourselves. That is what we did. So, we went to dish ourselves some soup. So, we, which is our subject, helped ourselves, which is our reflexive pronouns, to some soup. So we dished ourselves. That is what we mean, right? And then we have, for example, another word, another one, which is Amy, right? Amy is a noun. Amy is a girl, right? So Amy is a girl. It says Amy drives herself to work every morning, meaning that Amy's got a car, right? Amy is driving alone to work in the morning. So Amy drives herself to work every morning. She does not get a lift. She does not take a taxi. She does not a passenger. She drives herself to work, right? So Amy, it refers to the subject, which is she drives herself to work every morning, right? So once again, the reflexive pronoun, it needs to match, right, the specific subject. It needs to refer back to the specific subject, right? That is a reflexive pronoun. And a reflexive pronoun can only be used to refer to the subject, right? So, which means that if we make mention of ourselves, then it needs to refer back to we. In our sentence, if we're saying it's herself, it needs to refer back to she or the person's name. If we say it's himself within the sentence, then it either needs to refer back to he or it needs to refer back to a boy's name, right? Itself needs to refer back to it. Myself needs to refer back to something that I am doing, right? Or if we say selves, then it needs to refer back to what we are doing. Yourselves needs to refer back to what you are doing, which is the subject you, or themselves refers back to they, which is the subject they, something that they are doing. All right. So it refers back to the subject. But then we have a personal pronoun, right? And personal pronouns, right? It refers to someone else. Personal pronouns refers to someone else, right? For example, on personal pronouns are words like me, you, him, her, it, us, or them, right? That should be used and it's referring to someone else. That is a personal pronoun. It does not refer back to the subject, it refers to someone else, right? For example, if you say Jake wrote a note for himself, right? If we say Jake wrote a note for himself, Jake is a he, right? Which is a boy. So Jake wrote a note for himself. Then it means that Jake wrote a note for, it's like he wrote a note for him. Like it's like me writing a note for myself, right? That is what he did. But if we say Jake wrote a note for him, then it means that Jake wrote a note for someone else. So this is a personal pronoun, and Jake himself is a reflexive pronoun, right? All right. So I know I have said a lot. I have done a lot of explaining now. Do we understand what a reflexive pronoun is? Do we know what a reflexive pronoun is? Do we know that a reflexive pronoun are words like that ends in self or end in selves? And when we either use any of those words that either end in self or selves, then it needs to refer back to the subject that it refers to. Do we understand that? Do we also understand what a personal pronoun is? Remember, a reflexive pronoun, right? It's like you're referring to yourself. But a personal pronoun refers to someone else, refers to someone else. All right. All right. I'm just glad that we understand. Guys, please do ask questions if you don't understand. I will re-explain, I will please explain, I will over-explain again. Right? As long as you understand at the end of the lesson what we are doing. It's not just about us going straight to the test. It's not just about us finishing the lesson. It's about you understanding at the end of our lesson what we basically covered. Right? All right. I'm going to, let me do that. Yes. I'm going to leave this open, right? This box so that you can see the reflexive pronouns, the box, right? It says he, right? He is the subject. He is a singular subject, right? It says he helped. He helped fix the fat tire. All right. So if we look at he helped, right? If he's helping someone else, right, to fix a flat tire, then that is going to be a personal pronoun, right? That is not going to be a reflexive pronoun. All right. If we look at this sentence, I specifically wanted this sentence. It says they brought only enough chairs for. They brought only enough chairs for. So this is a reflexive pronoun, right? So this is them bringing chairs for themselves. So we can say it is themselves. So they brought only enough chairs for themselves, right? That is a reflexive pronoun. The others were personal pronouns. All right, so let us go to our test, right? We're going to begin the test where we're going to choose either if it's a personal pronoun or a reflexive pronoun. Remember, a personal pronoun refers to someone else, but a reflexive pronoun, it refers back to yourself, right? All right, so we need to select the base pronoun to complete the sentence. I should call. Do we say I should call you more often, or I should call yourself more often? If you were to call someone else more often, do we say I need to call you more often, or I need to call yourself more often? Which one is the correct one? So if you need to refer to someone else, if you need to call someone else, do we say I should call you more often or I should call yourself more often? All right. So if we use the or choose the correct one, we will then choose I should call you more often because you're calling someone else, right? We're not calling ourselves, right? So I should call you more often, and that is a personal pronoun. So well done. That is a personal pronoun. All right. So if you are busy yourself, right? Do we say he kept yourself busy all day or he kept himself busy all day? If he was busy all day, do we say he kept yourself busy all day or he kept himself busy all day? Option one or option two? He kept yourself busy all day or he kept himself busy all day? Remember, our reflexive pronoun need to refer to the correct subject. So option two, he being a boy kept, do we say yourself busy all day, which is option one, or option two, which is he kept himself busy all day? All right, and if we choose the best or correct pronoun, right, then we will say he kept himself busy all day because that reflexive pronoun himself refers back to the subject, which is he, right? So he kept himself busy all day. So well done, guys. Well done. Sometimes I sing too. Do I say sometimes I sing to myself or sometimes I sing to me? Sometimes I sing to myself or sometimes I sing to me. What is the correct one? So sometimes I sing, do we say sometimes I sing to myself or do we say sometimes I sing to me? So sometimes I sing to myself or sometimes I sing to me. We need to choose the correct one. All right, and if we choose the correct pronoun, right, then we will go yes with option one. So well done. Option one is the correct answer because remember we said that if it refers back to the subject, right? In that case, it was I. So I is the reflexive pronoun myself, right? So myself refers back to the subject I, right? So myself was the correct one. It makes us laugh every time, or it makes ourselves laugh every time. Do we say it makes us laugh every time or it makes ourselves laugh every time? What is the correct one? So once again, do we say it makes us laugh at every time or it makes ourselves laugh every time? Option one or option two? All right. And if we were to choose the base pronoun, right, we can say it makes us laugh every time. It makes us laugh every time. So well done. Well done. Us is correct, right? So us is correct. He helped myself fix the tire, flat tire, or he helped me fix the flat tire. If he was helping someone else, right? Not himself. If he was helping someone else, do we say he helped myself fix the flat tire or he helped me fix the flat tire? Remember, if we use the word myself, then it needs to refer to the subject I. Is that the subject I? Our subject there is he. So he helped, do we say myself fix the flat tire or he helped me fix the flat tire? All right. And if we choose the correct option, we can say he helped me fix the flat tire, right? And me is a personal pronoun. So well done. The second option, me, is correct. So well done. Well done. All right. Now we're going to use the reflexive pronouns, right? And we said once again that reflexive pronouns, it ends in self and selves. And remember, we said that the reflexive pronouns, remember these are the reflexive pronouns, right? So if we are using these words, then it needs to refer back to that subject. So if we make mention of the reflexive pronoun, which is myself, myself needs to refer back to I. Yourself needs to refer back to you. Herself needs to refer back to she. Himself needs to refer back to he. Itself refers back to it. Right? That is how we use the reflexive pronoun within the sentence. If it refers to someone else, then it is a personal pronoun. Right? All right. If we look at the word I will I will not be will be careful not to hurt. This word's the subject. I will be careful not to hurt. We need to choose the correct pronoun. Look at this words here. What does the I refer to when we look at the reflexive pronoun? All right, so if we refer back to I and we use the reflexive pronoun, we can say, I will be careful not to hurt. So we can say, I will be careful not to hurt myself, right? So which means that this word myself refers back to the subject I, but the reflexive pronoun is myself. So well done, right? Well done. It says she, right? Look at the subject here, and it needs to match that reflexive pronoun. It says she walks to the store by. She walks to the store by. Do we say she walks to the store by myself, yourself, herself, himself, or itself? So we need to select the correct reflexive pronoun, right? That matches that specific word, the subject, which is she. Look at over here. There's she. She walks to the store by. This needs to refer to the reflexive pronoun, right? So she walks to the store by. All right. So we can say she walks to the store by herself, right? Because that is the pronoun, right? Or the reflexive pronoun that refers back to the subject, which is she. So yes, the third option is correct. So well done. The third option is correct. Well done. All right, so now we're going to our test, right, where we are going to use reflexive pronouns. And remember, these words needs to refer back to the subject, reflexive pronouns. We're now not using personal pronouns. We're using only reflexive now, that it ends in self or selves. All right, so as it says, complete the sentence with a pronoun that refers back to the subject. Remember that box that I showed you, right? That reflexive pronoun that was on the right needs to refer to the subject, which is on the left. All right, so I can say, I read quietly too. Do we say, I read quietly to me before bed, or I read quietly to myself before bed? We need to select the reflexive pronoun that ends in self. All right, so I say I read quietly to, and we can say I read quietly to myself before bed. So myself is option 2. Yes, well done. Option 2 is correct. They, we now need to choose the correct reflexive pronoun that refers back to they. It says, are they building a house for? Are they helping building a house for? Do we say themselves or himself? It refers to they, and the reflexive pronoun is either themselves or himself. All right, and we say, are they building a house for? Do we say themselves or for himself? And if we choose the correct option, right, then we can say yes, it is option 1. It is it's option 1. So sometimes you shouldn't really be too hesitant about your answer, right? So the first option is correct because the word themselves, the pronoun themselves, refers back to they. So well done. Option 1 is correct. All right, let's do this one. It says we. We threw a party for. Did we throw a party for ourselves after the game, or we threw a party for our after the game? All right, so we can say we throw a party by or for ourselves after the game. So well done. Option 1 is correct, right? Let's do the last one. We're going to do the last one. She, right? She is the subject. We now need to choose the correct reflexive pronoun that refers back to the word she. Let's say she took pictures of. Do we say herself making silly faces? Or do we say himself making silly faces? So remember, our reflexive pronoun refers back to the subject. So she, who's a girl, right? Yes, and we can say she took pictures of herself making silly faces. So well done, guys. Well done. Well done. All right, so that is the end of our lesson on reflexive pronouns. Remember, we said reflexive pronouns end in self when we're referring to a singular subject, and it ends in selves if we refer to a plural subject, right? With a reflexive pronoun, it needs to refer back to the subject, whether it is in plural or whether it is singular, right? And we need to not be confused between the difference of the personal pronoun as well as the reflexive pronoun. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade twos, for joining the class. Really hope that you're going to have a good day further or good weekend ahead. Goodbye.